Hello Earth, welcome to episode 45 of season 3 of Making Cell, a series of videos where I recall myself designing and implementing a programming environment called Cell. If you're just tuning in for the first time, I recommend you go check out this page, github.com/autocornell/cell. I'm pasting now the link in the description. We're going to continue where we left off, which is designing the calls of a non-trivial sequence. Look at this daunting monster here. This is enough to validate this HTML representation, I think recursively. Yeah, I think it covered all the cases. So the question is this actually valuable? Does it make sense? I'll tell you what I'm sure about. I like a lot the way I can represent data. That I love, I have to say. It feels completely right. It feels better than any other data representation I've worked with. No contest. But as for the code, it's compact and it feels perhaps a bit daunting. It's a matter of size. Maybe this makes more sense when you're just looking at the expansion. I mean, this is fine. If you read it, you can actually understand it. I'm comparing to something like this, or well, maybe something with some this is also dense actually. It's just something I'm much more used to. Yeah, I need to trust this. Let's do the HTML generation now. I need to reassure myself that this is still working. There. Nice. And also I want to reassure myself that the old tests still have teeth. Yeah. You see the color there? Perfect. So we still have all of these tests passing. Good. But the ones that matter really, like the office here. Some of these things are going to change because the behavior of get and put is going to be different depending on what comes out of the design sessions. So let's just do it. Let's do the HTML generation. Let's just do it. So we're going to go from this representation here to an actual string. So it would be HTML generate. So it takes an input and then it starts by setting an output. What's it? I'm setting an output. I can just call it HTML. I could, it's a bit confusing. Be an HTML text. Actually, no, let's call it HTML because that's what it is. Of course, there's one here, but it shouldn't be an issue, right? We're doing this one. Although, if we do that, we cannot access the HTML object from outside. Well, maybe we can use the freedom of going up. No, not even. Wait, you'll see. You'll see what I mean in a minute. can just do a call. No, but if I do go with the hook, the hook of the first step, it won't work what I'm trying to do. So I really need to jump up. It's okay. Let's figure out a way to jump up. Okay, I will continue in a second, but let's think. Why would any of this make sense? I mean, in a moment like this, I just see the daunting amount of work ahead, and I'm just a bit shy of it. It feels like having to move thousands of kilos of rocks from one place to the other all by yourself. That's how it feels in the bad moments. And I'm okay with moving rocks, but it has to make sense. I moved some rocks in the past that maybe didn't make much sense to be moved from one place to the other. So I think that's really the fear of doing something heavy and in the end it going nowhere. So the question is, will this really make sense? So if I am looking, what will be different as soon as it works? The data is right there in your code. You have constant feedback on your calls and you can unfold. The editor works in steps, not characters. So you are jumping around. Like I'm trying to picture the promised land. Yeah. Okay. The price of this is not even the implementation. Well, a little bit. But actually figuring out meat and potatoes of mechanisms that you use in sequences. Variable, getting, setting, oops, match, slice, push. It works. Let's do it. So I'm setting the output here. I'm starting by iterating the input. So how do I get the type? Yeah, I need to just set the type. But do I really need the type in so many places? I mean, I could just do, I know I'm second guessing myself as usual, but can I just do, if it's equal this to, I would do type input. Yeah, let's just leave it as it was. the value is type input, and then I can just say if I need to start writing instead of copying. If condition if t is includes, I cannot think what's going on. Yeah, that one. Has. That's a nice one. Okay. What is enough to then implement HTML validation and generation? What else? So we had it somewhere. This class as well here. We don't need, I think, CSS generation because it's essentially the same. Could be a couple differences. Recalc, I'm not sure if I'm gonna need, because it should be kind of inside cell, really, which actually raises a big question mark. It's like, when am I going to do it? Because we do need to track dependencies. Yeah. So we'll end up with something quite similar here. Another option would be, and I like it more, though technically we wouldn't write it in cell. It could be a web server. This one. I'll write some stuff like this. This is an alternative to Express.js actually. A lot of it I would do differently, but the mechanisms are quite good there. What would I write with cell? Because here's the thing, C was developed with Unix. C was developed to build Unix. So what do I need to build with cell besides cell itself? That's kind of the question here. Yeah, let's try that one. Could be like so if this is the case, then just do, actually in this case I need to return it as if it's a number, do, and I want to pass a sequence here, because why not? So I want to Maybe I don't need to stop here. Maybe I can just do something like HTML push. Did I call it somewhere? Yeah, push. I could do it like this, I think. No, I don't need. I can just go up and do HTML. And just push will do. If it's text, it should basically respect the type of what already is there. So I just push it. If it's text, I need to, what is it, entity-ify. So we need to do this. And then it just returns. It would be, I think I did at some point, right? This replace. Yeah, do it somewhere. Yeah, I cannot do it like that. Okay, even worse. Maybe in Dodis. No, but I remember. No, I was somewhere else. I think in some notes. Anyway, let's do it again. The important thing is to have the list here. It would be it would be loop data. The data would be this. This is the beautiful part. Yes. Look at that. No quotes. No nothing. Just straight stuff. Yes. Here, of course, I need to do this. No problem. Nothing to fear. Not bad. And I'm looping over this, and then I'm doing sequence, I call it. I could also call it do. Loops have count, do, else. Should loops have data do instead of data seek? We can, what am I doing? We can keep seek just for definitions of sequences. Maybe data do. That could be better because they're closer, I think. So what do I do? This is sequence, right? But why? The only reason I don't put sequence for conditionals is that the S comes after E. Same, so else would be there before do. The same goes for then and then what do I do? But what this is not a good term. If this do this, I mean, yeah, we just use it all the time. Why not? And you loop and you do. And what do? You do a sequence. No, I think it needs to stay like this. Nah. That's all we do. It's what we would say in natural language. What's so natural about natural language? I would say text, and then just replace on the argument. I think that's pretty. You would set text. I need to pass the path here, right? Yeah. Do path put text to replace text the replace would be text with yeah, but for replacing it, three things. Replace what? Oh, this is better than what, I think. From, I can just do from two. It would be path 2, path 1. Boom. It's so different, so different. Making this, but it still feels so strange. But yeah, that would make sense, yeah. So I'm just replacing that. That's it, that's all I need to do. Replace would always do all of them, not just one. Very, very few times. Not the first one. I don't remember using the single char replacement in replace ever. So we can actually look at this. So here, well, all of them, sure. Here, I'm doing one replacement here. Where is this? In this case, it's only because there's only one, so I don't care, it would be the same. We can just do it on all the core libraries that I have, replace. Also, there's only one, so I don't care, but it would have been all of them in any case. Same here. Say replace everything too. Yep. Yep. here. Yeah, I think this only has one, so it doesn't matter. This one also, because it's the beginning of the text. Yeah. Yeah, I cannot find instances of find on purpose replacing just one. I might be going too fast here, but yeah. Yeah, global. Here's just one. Global. Yeah. The good default, at least for my uses, for after almost 15 years of doing this, maybe, was it? No, 10, is this. Yeah. Good. So we have that. And then you just return text. We could even have the default. The default that you respond with your message. No. Let's make it more explicit, at least for now. Yes, it has to be self-similar, and you need to see where this value response comes from. Yeah, that's the correct way of doing it. So here I just need to push. What's this number thing? It's just silly stuff I'm doing here. It's input, you push input, silly. And here you just push entity5, HTML entity5. I need to go one up here, otherwise it's going to get captured here. So how can I do that? I could add an app keyword. I don't like it. In app, you cannot use a literal app. You could do this instead. But no, actually let's not allow it. Let's see if we can do. Basically it blocks the access when you have a variable name like that, which of course can be problematic if you have stuff in the middle in the expansions. I still need to understand why in JavaScript you wouldn't have that problem. Yeah, you wouldn't have the problem because of a lexical scope. But the app wouldn't save you if you have code you don't know what you didn't write between you and the other one. Open problems with this scope. Cannot access the one app if you an x above if you also define an x below. The x below blocks the x above. Also happens in JS. An intentional variable capture if you have a library in the middle of your code between the high and the low, and they use the same variable names than that you are using to access something up. JS doesn't have this problem because of dynamic scope. So I'm identifying this input, but that's it. That's what I need to do, right? The attributes also have to be identified, but not the contents too, right? Generate this. So I'm just passing a recursive thing to the contents, and it's probably a leaf bag if it's just literal things. Yeah. This. 10. Yeah, for style and input, I don't need to identify it. Yeah, I think this is good. And now we just deal with the list. And what I push here is the recursive call. This is pretty. Oh wait, I need to list to loop it, right? Yeah. Which I think I do anyway. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I don't even pass the item there. I shouldn't do that. That's better. But what am I doing with this list? I'm just returning that value basically. Okay, so in this case I need to do this. I need to do push p output, and the v would be, but I need to no, it's the other way around. I need to do it inside like this. Wait, I don't get it. I didn't do this right. Here, I didn't pass explicitly the input. That's just wrong. It would be the path here, right? Something like that. Yeah. Do path. So I don't need that, probably I can just do put p, no, put no would be push. And then what I push is this. I will do each of the paths, right? But how do I know what's what? Yeah, this is generating me a lot of problems right now. This is not right, what I'm doing here. Because I need to basically be able to split. What's killing me with iteration sometimes is that I need to pass all the distinct prefixes in a grouped way. If we have, let's say, just 3 items, it would be and there I need to get the second element of each. But wait, but what if we have this one div it would make sense to iterate not on paths but on list elements. This would actually make more sense, at least some of the time. So I know I was doing like I was talking about this in loops. Yes, the listy representation. So it would be, if I do this, then if I'm iterating a list, I would only go n times, one per element of the list instead of one per path. Then k would be path 1 and v would be path onwards. This could work. It also works for the simple case of simple elements on a list or a hash. Yeah, this is it. This is it. This has to be it. This is totally car CDR, only that CDR gives you no, but wait, if we do this, then you can have multiple path 2s, right? In the example above, you don't. Actually, you have one, which then forks, but you could have this. It's tough to do this, eh? At the end of the day, let's not complain though. You could have something like this. So, on the first iteration, what is path 2? Well, it could be it could be a list. It could be a list where the first element is CL and the second one is ID. So same goes for path 3, and you cannot confuse this with anything else, or rather, this is not ambiguous because you know you're working with paths. I'm about to retreat to iterating not on paths but on K and V. I mean, most of the time we need that, right? Well, not most of the time. If the complex structure is a list, do you change anything by having it as paths? Yes. How you group them? B is but path 2 would be and path 3 would be, well, maybe we can use this notation here so we don't go nuts. What's path 3 would be yeah, so it's not exactly the same. Making path 2 pretty unnecessary unless you have items that skip sparse list. Nice. This is key. Take away the grain of complex data is what makes iteration and later querying. Querying is essentially fast iteration plus DSL. But then I need two arguments here. The KV can do KV or PV. But this is still elegant. Pushing to the output from inside the loop is great. Yep. And then we go for this one. I haven't forgotten about all the stuff I said below. I just have to think a bit about it, but have data and you access it by data P and data V. Prefix. The debate between the new paradigm of paths that is conceptually unifying versus the traditional practicality of working with value is moot. What matters is to find the few use cases that can stand on themselves and see which way they will tilt the scales. This is the only thing that can and should determine the default for a loop. And in the cases where the secondary representation of the message passed through the loop call is useful, this can help us flesh it out better, in a better way. I'm here. So what do I need to do here? I need to do a bunch of stuff here. Assuming it's valid, right? I would push the yeah, how do I get the first element of the input if it's a hash? Yes. I need to make it into a list. And then get the first element of it. Or is it getting too magic? It would be this input. Yeah, this won't work. I need to basically, I need parentheses here. It's like, do this, then give me one. It's either that, yeah, I need to deal with the problems just full on. The problem with not having parentheses is that doing something like object keys data is making me have to store a variable somewhere so that I can then access it. This is not good. Let's consider a new and unary operator that splits things. Example, a comma. You make a list of data. The comma would make the call ignore the 0 for finding data and would even call list with it or nothing if there's no data. Then the comma would here it somehow balance with the amount of calls. Then after this data is resolved, we get its 0. How is this expressed? In the add would like to see the intermediate results. This data gives you a bunch of stuff. Then you get 0, or does comma operate in one go and you just get that element? I'm leaning heavily towards the latter. Maybe this could work. Sorry, it's not 0, it's 1. I would say if we make it work, it's elegant. A unary separator. It's a sort of precedence indicator that with some tension on the left until it gets resolved. It can just map to a single call. Oh wait, I'm saying that. Yeah, a single add. Maybe we can just do some echo here. Just comment on the ideas. For a bit of perspective. Yeah, this I already know. I'm not smiling. I'm trying to get in something in that is not another pair of braces parenthesis brackets. If not, we'll rely on arcane order rules or setting intermediate rules like we were doing, let's say I can see how the comma could be abused. It's almost a 5, right? Saying chat with Claude. The comma could be almost considered a 5. Ah. Okay. The problem with the comma is that we don't see the intermediate values. There's just too much going on, and as with Unix pipes, you can only see what comes out. So what if a comma is like an at, in that we see something on top of it? Que está buena. Expands. This data would be and then I do comma 1 1, right? No, I'm making it into that would be like this, right? No, what am I doing here? I need to do it per path here, right? Yeah. It would be like this, it would be per path, right? I'm still not sure, but it's okay. It's besides the point now. What am I doing? Oh. Las casas tienen armazones blancas. Yeah. No, self-similarity. It has to be the same for everything because it is all the same already, right? It's just cause. My hands on my head when saying this. This cannot be just for reference. It's because reference is a call. Yeah. Is there something like this in APL? Hmm? Yeah. All right, yeah. You can see it, you can see it. You can see any data with the same whole transformation is done in one way through calls. How do APL trains work? Why am I going back to APL? It's probably because of my ignorance. That as by default, you put data, then you call a word, and the result is there. And then if you either add more data or put another word that takes the previous result, it's by default. You write it in the order in which it has to be executed. Words that are data simply don't execute anything, they just build up the attention in the stack. It's beautiful. Yeah. But in JSC you can also not you also cannot see the intermediate state. Why are they easier? It can't just be familiarity. Why? Why? Yeah, name variables. And ABL, also know name variables. Yeah, good point. Fourth, an ABL, I'll have this. Yeah, actually it makes sense. They have great flow, but no way to get hold of what in the middle. You really have to run it in your head. At their best. It has yeah. Why not this then? Lack of inbuilt hashes. Salir con vida. So yeah, I'm completely like, why am I doing this? Is it really new? Does it come to solve something that needs to be solved? And how previous attempts of solving this came short, if I'm going to learn from that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, this is a fucking mess already. Good for closure. Appreciate the support. Asking you to be critical unless you yeah. Yeah, comma could work here. Yeah. No, this is just fine. Yeah. Yeah. It's going in now. Uh, yeah, I had to close that one. Yeah, and then I need to do the attributes, right? I need to loop. I would just do loop data of what? The data is what? Something horrible like this. Yes, something horrible like this, I guess. Yeah, but how do I know that the comma is gonna resolve these? I don't know. It's like all of this and then comma, right? And in this case, what do? Yeah, I still don't know how to do something as simple as that. It's okay, I need to sleep on it a bit. Yeah, I need to sleep on it. All right, thank you for watching.